President Muhammadu Buhari leaves for 36th AU Summit in Addis Ababa. Security agencies to deploy over 400,000 personnel nationwide ahead of general elections. Svtv state government denies allegation of non-payments of 6 months workers' salaries and table payment. And business news, Nigeria's oil output rose by 31 million barrels. On international scene, World Bank urges African countries to solve trade barriers. And in sports, Guinea-Bissau awaits stadium's approval for Eagles clash. Hello and thanks for joining us. That was the headlines for Standard Voice Television News. I am Muhammad Ibrahim Dusra with the news of film. President Muhammadu Buhari departs Abuja for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia to participate in the 36th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the African Union. The theme of the AU Summit is Acceleration of the African Continental Free Trade Area Implementation. In a statement signed by the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President will participate in 3 high-level meetings on peace and security, climate change, and the political situation in West African countries. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Kali, has announced that over 400,000 personnel from the nation's security agencies will be deployed for the conduct of the forthcoming general elections to ensure the smooth conduct of the exercise. The IGP made this disclosure while appearing at the ministerial media briefing organized by the Presidential Communication Team at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said out of this, the police will be providing over 300,000 personnel while the balance will be sourced from complementary security agencies in the country. The National Examination Council, NECO, has announced the release of the November-December 2022 Senior School Certificate Examination results. Registrar of NECO, Professor Lantani Ibrahim Wushishim, who made the announcement in Mina, Niger State, said that 59,124 candidates sat for the examination with 31,316 males, representing 52.96%. while 27,808 representing 47% were female. He further disclosed that the number of candidates who got 5 credits and above, including English language and mathematics, is 33,914, representing 57.36%. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has announced that he had directed 15 banks executives to make the old 200 naira notes available. The governor made this known after attending a meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and the House of Representatives, Special Ad Hoc Committee on Naira Redesign Policy, Cashless Policy, and Currency Swap on Thursday. In a chat with State House correspondents, the governor, who described himself as a servant, appealed to Nigerians to allow the policy to work because he believes it will bring advancement to the nation's economy when the challenge of illicit financial flaws and insecurity is resolved.
President has given his directives. I have met with about 15 banks this morning later, and we've given them directives about how they should make all the old 200 naira notes available, effective today. And I can assure Nigerians that this will help to reduce the pains.
He said the hardship and temporary pains due to the policy are regrettable, but assured that the Apex Bank will continue to work to ease the sufferings of Nigerians owing to the cash crunch. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has restated that the deadline for the remittance of 50% deposit of 2022 allocation remains February 28, failure of which the affected states will forfeit their allocation or reduced. In a statement signed by the Commission's AD Information and Publications, Musa Ubandawaki, reveals that remittance of the Commission in the past week has been abysmal and payment to service providers in Saudi Arabia remains the biggest assurance that Nigerians will participate in this year's Hajj. Therefore, it is necessary to kick things off. Mr. Musa, while reiterating their commitment to all intending pilgrims to ensure that everyone who paid their fare is registered, also urges states to respect the agreement on the distribution of Hajj quota on the basis of 60% for government pilgrims and 40% for the Hajj Savings Scheme subscribers. The Zamfara state government has announced that the story being peddled around by some unscrupulous elements alleging that the government owes the state workers 6 months' salary and the government is now paying the workers on table payment using the humongous amounts of old Naira notes charged by the state governor, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawale, is untrue. This was contained in a statement signed by the State Commissioner for Information, Alhaji Ibrahim Dusara. The commissioner said the state government has never skipped a month without payment of his workers' salary right from the inception of his administration to date. Alhaji Dusara said the general public is therefore advised to disregard such misinformation and diss it, as it is baseless and unfounded. Kebbi State government has signed a tripartite agreement for the actual takeoff of ethanol biofuel production from cassava. Kebbi State government, under the Memorandum of Understanding through the Kebbi Investments Company, is the host community with 5% shares, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited with 25% share, while the core investor, a private firm, 3D, has the majority shareholding of 70%. This was disclosed by Kebbi State Deputy Governor, retired Colonel Samaile Yombe Dabai, at a news briefing at the Conference Hall Cabinet Office, Birnin Kebbi. Retired Colonel Yombe Dabai said Dankowa Sagu in Zuru Emirate has been selected as the site for the biofuel refinery in consideration of the suitability of soil in the area for such energy project. Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, has ordered the release of over 300 million naira worth of drugs and other medical supplies to government hospitals for free distribution to patients, most of whom were facing difficulties in making payments due to scarcity of new and old naira notes. The State Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Professor Muhammad Arab Al-Haji, disclosed this while unveiling the drugs at his ministry stores located along Baga Road in Maiduguri. The supplies include the drug for prevalent illness, maternal delivery kits, and other medical essentials. And on business news, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries has announced that Nigeria pumped additional 31.1 million barrels of crude oil within a space of 4 months, following improvements in security and the country's oil-producing Niger Delta region. Latest data from the organization's monthly oil market report for February 2022 showed that the average crude oil output from Nigeria in the third quarter of 2022 was 0.999 million barrels per day, according to figures accessed by OPEC based on direct communication. This, however, increased to an average of 1.258 million barrels per day in January 2023, indicating an estimated daily rise of 259,000 barrels and 7.77 million barrels in a month. This therefore implies that the country pumped an additional 31.1 million barrels of crude oil within the 4-month period of October, November, December, and January. And on international news,
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
According to the World Bank Group, non-tariff barriers and hurdles affecting cross-border goods crossings must be addressed in order to reap the benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Area. In a new report titled, "Can African Trade Integration Be a Game Changer?" the Washington-based bank noted that the AFCFTA, which hopes to connect 54 countries with a combined population of 1.3 billion and GDP of $3.4 trillion, has several challenges to overcome. It's noted that African businesses should also see the opportunities, as its research suggests that the agreement has the potential to bring significant economic and social benefits in the form of faster economic growth, higher incomes, and less poverty. The World Bank also stated that in addition to ministries of trade involved in the negotiations, other government agencies in each country should also become familiar with AFCFTA and learn the key role they may be called to play in its implementation on the ground. And still on international news, United States President Joe Biden was declared fit for duty by his doctor after the final annual medical checkup before he is expected to declare his sworn-in for re-election in 2024 when he will be 82. The keenly awaited report after extensive testing found some relatively minor issues, but said Biden was clear for serious physical and neurological problems. Biden, the oldest person ever to be U.S. president, spent the morning completing a series of tests that has begun last year at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, a complex in the Washington suburbs with a presidential facility. The president had not declared a re-election bid, but is widely expected to do so soon, with the campaign starting to heat up. On the Republican side, the frontrunner is former President Donald Trump, whom Biden beat in the tumultuous 2022 elections. And on sports news, the Football Federation of Guinea-Bissau is awaiting an approval from the Confederation of African Football to host a 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between Guinea-Bissau and Nigeria, the Estadio Nacional, 24 September, the Bissau next month. The Wild Dogs are due to host Nigeria on March Day 4 of the AFCON qualification series, but at the moment, Guinea-Bissau do not have a CAF-approved playing turf in the country of slightly over 2 million people. On March Day of the qualifying series, the Eagles fought back from after an 11th-minute goal by Jonathan Mose to defeat Sierra Leone 2-1 in Abuja, with Alex Iwobi and Victor Osimhen scoring the goals. In their second ground fixture, away in the Moroccan city of Agadir, the Eagles set to a new international win record, defeating Sao Tome and Principe 10-0 with 4 of the goals scored by Osimhen. And that's all we have for today's news, but before we go, let's take a recap of the major headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari leaves for 36th AU Summit in Addis Ababa. Security agencies to deploy over 400,000 personnel nationwide ahead of general elections. Svtv state government denies allegation of non-payments of 6 months workers' salaries and table payment. And business news, Nigeria's oil output rose by 31 million barrels. On international scene, World Bank urges African countries to solve trade barriers. And in sports, Guinea-Bissau awaits stadium's approval for Eagles Clash. And that was a recap for the major headlines for Standard Voice Television News. On behalf of the production team, Head of News and Current Affairs, I still remain Rahama Ibrahim. They said, do have a nice day.